Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling something that I think a lot of us struggle with,
Yeah.
and that is staying motivated when it comes to weight loss.
It's so tough.
It really is, especially when you know you've got to keep it up long term.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So we found this awesome source that we're going to dive into today, and it's packed with really practical tips to keep that motivation going.
Yeah, and what I found so interesting is that it really focuses on those little things,
Yeah,
those small shifts that you can make that actually can make a huge difference.
totally. And I think that's what's so refreshing about it, right? It's
Mm.
not about like those crazy overhauls or anything like that.
Yeah.
So one of the first things it dives into is the importance of setting clear and achievable goals.
That's so important. And it's really all about, understanding the psychology of goal setting.
Hmm.
When we break down those big goals, those huge goals,
Right.
like losing a large amount of weight into smaller chunks,
Yeah.
we're actually creating more frequent wins.
Yeah. And, it makes sense. Like if you, instead of saying, okay, I need to lose 50 pounds,
Right.
what if you reframe it and say, okay, I'm going to focus on losing 5 pounds this month?
Exactly. And it feels so much more attainable. And each time you hit that smaller goal,
Yeah.
it reinforces that belief in yourself that you are capable, that you can do this.
Totally. Like it's almost like leveling up in a game or something.
Yeah. So I
You
can
get that sense of accomplishment, and that makes you want to keep going.
Totally.
And the other thing that the source talks about, which I thought was really smart, is tracking your progress.
Yes.
And it's not just about like the data itself,
Right.
but it's really about having that visual reminder of how far you've already come.
That's a good point because it's so easy to get caught up in like, oh, I still have this much more to go.
Yes.
And when you see how much progress you've already made,
Yes,
it can be so incredibly motivating.
absolutely. So we've got setting smaller goals, tracking our progress.
Hmm.
What else can we do to
Mm.
kind of boost that motivation?
Well, the next thing that this source really emphasizes is the importance of finding a support system.
Okay.
We as humans, we are social creatures. We crave connection.
Yeah.
So having that network of support, whether it's friends, family, even an online community,
Yeah,
can be incredibly powerful when you're trying to lose weight.
totally. Because if you're feeling kind of discouraged or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
having people to, cheer you on
Exactly.
can make such a big difference.
Yes. And, on the flip side, having someone to hold you accountable
Yes,
can also be really helpful.
totally. Because if someone's going to check in with you,
Yeah.
you're a little bit more likely to, stay on track.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I like how this source kind of acknowledges that, there's so many different ways that you can find support.
Right.
It could be local groups, it could be fitness classes,
Mm-hmm.
Online forums, or even just like a really close friend or a family member,
Yeah, absolutely.
who understands your journey.
And it's all about finding what works best for you. Yeah. Right? Some people thrive in those group settings. Other people really prefer one-on-one support. So it's all about figuring out what is going to be most beneficial for you.
Yeah, so we've got our clear goals, we're tracking our progress, we've got our cheer squad.
Yes.
What's the next piece?
All right. So this is where it gets fun.
Okay.
It's all about finding ways to make exercise enjoyable.
Okay.
Now, you might be rolling your eyes,
I'm listening
but hear me out.
because I've definitely had those, dread the treadmill moments.
Yes, and that's exactly what we want to avoid.
Right.
The key here is to shift the focus from exercise as this punishment
Yeah.
to exercise as a way to move your body in a way that feels good,
I love that.
that you enjoy, and that brings you joy.
Yes.
So this source really emphasizes, exploring different activities,
Hmm.
finding something that truly speaks to you.
Yeah.
It could be dancing,
Hmm.
it could be swimming, hiking, biking, rock climbing.
So many options.
The possibilities are endless.
And they even talk about like the social aspect of exercise too.
Yeah.
Like joining a dance class or finding a workout buddy.
Absolutely, because you're getting that social connection at the same time
Yeah.
as you're getting the benefits of exercise. So it's a win-win.
Totally. So find something you love, maybe grab a friend, get moving.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when like life gets in the way?
Yes.
You have those weeks where work is crazy or you're traveling
Right.
and your routine is just like out the window.
Yeah. This is where that whole idea of flexibility comes in.
Okay.
The source really emphasizes that this is not about being perfect. It's about adapting and adjusting as needed.
Mm-hmm.
Because life is
Yeah.
going to throw those curveballs.
Life rarely goes according to plan.
Exactly. So our weight loss journey is going to have those twists and turns as well.
And it's so freeing to kind of give yourself that permission
Yes.
to not have to be perfect.
Right. And what's so interesting is that it talks about viewing those setbacks
Okay.
as learning opportunities.
Okay, so instead of being like, oh my God, I totally messed up, I might as well just give up.
Yeah.
You could say, okay, what can I learn from this?
Exactly.
How can I adjust?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're taking those challenges and turning them into valuable data points to create a more sustainable plan.
Okay, so we've got clear goals, support, movement that we enjoy, and now this ability to kind of adapt and adjust when we need to.
Yes.
What else do we need to keep in mind?
The next piece is all about monitoring our progress.
Okay.
And this isn't just about stepping on the scale every day. It's about really gathering that information to see what's working, what's not working, and making those adjustments along the way.
Yeah.
The source mentions things like journaling, using apps, even just having like a weekly check-in with a friend
Yeah.
to track your progress.
I love that.
Share your experiences.
Yeah, it's about taking like a more data-driven approach to our journey. And they even talk about celebrating those non-scale victories too.
Absolutely, because those are just as important.
Yes.
Right? It's not just about that number on the scale. It's about how your clothes are fitting, how much energy you have, how you're sleeping, your overall confidence.
Feeling good.
All of those things are so important to celebrate.
Okay, so we're tracking our progress. We're celebrating those wins.
Yes.
We're remembering to be flexible. It feels like we're building a pretty solid foundation here.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
But before we move on, Rick,
okay.
there's one other point I want to touch on.
Okay.
Remember earlier we were talking about the social aspect of finding support. Well, there are also resources available that can provide that support in a different way.
Okay, tell me more.
Imagine if you could get rid of stubborn fat and support your weight loss
Okay.
in a simple and healthy way,
Interesting.
all from the comfort of your own home.
Wait, so you're saying that there's a way to actually target that stubborn fat?
You can find out by visiting https://re.l/weightloss or by clicking the link
Okay.
in the description of this podcast.
Okay, we'll definitely have to check that out. But for now, let's get back to these strategies.
Okay.
We were just about to talk about rewards.
Rewards. This is where things can get fun, and it can be super helpful to understand a bit of the psychology behind rewarding yourself.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the psychology behind it?
Basically, rewards reinforce those positive behaviors. Think about when you were a kid, right? Getting a gold star for doing well in school made you want to keep trying.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept here. Like when we reward ourselves for making progress towards our weight loss goals, it actually makes the journey more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it keeps us motivated.
It's almost like, training a puppy or something.
Yeah, right.
You give them a treat when they do something good and they're more likely to do it again.
Right. Exactly. And the source gives some really great tangible reward ideas.
Okay, like what?
Like buying a new workout outfit or getting a massage.
Ooh.
Or even planning a little day trip for yourself.
I like that.
The key is to choose something that feels like a treat too.
Yeah.
And importantly, that it aligns with your overall well-being.
Right, because like a whole pizza might feel good in the moment,
Exactly.
but it's probably not going to help you with your long-term goals.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Rewarding yourself in a way that feels good, but also supports your healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got setting clear goals. We've got our support system. We've got, finding those enjoyable ways to move our bodies. We've got being flexible.
Yes.
We've got tracking our progress. We've got rewarding ourselves. What's the final kind of strategy we need to keep in mind here?
The last piece, and it's a big one, is staying flexible.
Okay.
And adjusting as needed. Life, it throws those curveballs.
I really hope.
And we need to be able to kind of roll with those punches.
Yeah.
Without getting completely derailed.
Because let's be real, life rarely goes according to plan.
Exactly. And this is where, the source really emphasizes the need to be adaptable.
Okay.
Because our routines change, our schedules get thrown off, our motivation levels might fluctuate.
Yeah.
That's all part of the process.
Totally. And the source gave a really good example. Imagine you were aiming for 5 workouts a week, but then work gets super crazy.
Right.
Or, something unexpected happens.
Yeah.
And you can only realistically squeeze in 3. And so instead of throwing in the towel
Yeah.
and saying, well, I messed up, might as well just give up,
Right.
you adapt.
To adapt, exactly.
Right. And it almost goes back to what we were talking about before. With those smaller goals,
Yes.
maybe instead of 5 full workouts, you aim for 3. And then, you add in a couple of short walks or something like that.
Yeah.
On the days that you're short on time.
Yeah. It's not about being perfect. It's about finding ways to keep moving forward.
Totally.
Even if it's in a slightly different direction than you originally planned.
Yeah. And what's so cool to me is this idea of viewing those setbacks as learning opportunities.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, instead of beating yourself up for missing a workout or, having a not so healthy meal,
Right.
you can be like, okay, what can I learn from this?
Exactly.
How can I, do better next time?
Yeah. And this is all about adopting that growth mindset where, those challenges are seen as chances to learn and grow.
Yeah.
Rather than, something to fear or avoid.
So it's like instead of getting caught up in the self-criticism,
Exactly.
you're like, okay, this is data.
Yes.
This is telling me, what's working, what's not.
It's giving you information.
And how I can adjust my approach.
Exactly. And that's something that you can apply to any area of your life, not just weight loss. It's a really powerful tool for navigating anything.
I love that it's like it takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
Knowing that you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
It's really just about, continuing to move forward.
Yes.
Even if it's just like one tiny little step at a time.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are so many resources available.
Yeah.
Whether it's, online communities,
Yeah.
in-person support groups, even individual coaching.
Totally. And speaking of resources, I think this is a good time to mention that website again.
Yes.
The one we talked about before. That focuses on a simple and healthy way to support weight loss.
Exactly. So if you're interested in learning more about that and finding that extra support, you can visit https://re.l-weightloss or click the link in the description of this podcast.
All right, so we've covered a lot today.
We have.
But I always like to kind of end our deep dives with a little something extra.
I like it.
For our listeners to think about. So based on everything we've learned today,
okay,
here's a question for you to chew on.
All right, I'm ready.
Out of all the strategies we talked about, which one resonates with you the most?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And why?
Yeah.
Is it something that you're already doing? Or is it something that you want to try to incorporate more?
Yeah.
So take some time to think about that.
Yeah.
And see what comes up.
I love it.
But before we wrap up, I just want to reiterate something that this source emphasized throughout, and it's you are capable of achieving your goals.
It's so true. Weight loss can be challenging, but with the right mindset and the right strategies in place, it is absolutely achievable.
And you don't have to do it alone.
Exactly. There's so much support out there.
Yes.
And
whether it's, from friends, family, those online communities, or even resources like the one that we mentioned.
Yeah.
So take what you've learned today, apply it to your own life, and keep moving forward.
We believe in you.
We do. As we're wrapping up this deep dive on weight loss motivation, I'm really struck by how much of it comes back to mindset.
Yeah, it really is all about shifting our perspective, isn't it? Like we've been talking about setting realistic goals, finding support, making movement enjoyable.
Yeah.
But what about those times when we don't see the progress that we were hoping for? What happens when we hit a plateau?
Yeah.
Or even experience a setback?
Yeah, it's so easy to get discouraged in those moments.
Totally.
And feel like you're failing.
Yeah, and that's where things can really start to unravel.
Right.
And this is where that idea of flexibility comes back into play in a big way. Remember, it's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about learning and adapting along the way.
Totally.
Those plateaus and setbacks, they're not failures, they're opportunities.
Okay, I like the reframing opportunities.
Yeah.
But how can we actually see those setbacks as opportunities?
It's about using them as moments to reassess.
Okay.
And adjust our approach. Maybe it's time to switch up your workout routine. Try some new healthy recipes or reach out to your support system for an extra dose of encouragement.
It's like hitting the reset button.
Right.
But in a positive way.
Exactly.
Instead of giving up, you're choosing to learn and grow from those experiences.
Exactly. And, this ties back to that growth mindset we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's about seeing those challenges as a chance to learn and evolve, not as a sign that we're not good enough.
Right. So instead of getting stuck in that cycle of self-criticism, we can choose to see them as valuable data points.
Exactly.
Like they're giving us information about, what's working, what's not, and how we can kind of fine-tune our approach.
Exactly. And that's something we can apply to any area of our lives, not just weight loss.
Totally.
It's a powerful tool for navigating any challenge.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It takes so much pressure off.
It does.
Just knowing that it's okay to not be perfect.
Right.
It's really just about, continuing to move forward.
Yes.
Even if it's one small step at a time.
Exactly. And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many resources available, from online communities to in-person support groups to even individual coaching.
And speaking of resources, I think this is a perfect time to mention that website one last time.
Okay.
The one we talked about that focuses on a simple and healthy way to support weight loss.
Yes. For those of you who are interested in learning more about targeting that stubborn fat and finding that extra support on your journey, you can find more information at https://rel.lweightloss or by clicking the link in the description of this podcast.
Awesome. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
And I really hope our listeners walked away with some valuable insights.
Me too.
And most importantly, a renewed sense of motivation to pursue their weight loss goals.
Absolutely.
And remember, it's a journey, not a race.
That's so important.
And every step forward is a victory worth celebrating.
It really is.
It's been a pleasure diving into this topic with you.
Likewise. And to all of you listening, remember, you've got this.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep taking care of yourselves.